It's almost top of the hour. We're going to get started in a minute.
I'll just give another minute, okay? For everyone to join. Should we get started? Or you want to wait another minute?
We'll give another minute.
Okay.
People are joining.
Yeah.
It's almost 2:05, I think.
Yeah, I think we can get started. So good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Heartfulness team of Florida, I would like to welcome you all and really appreciate all of you joining us on this Sunday afternoon. The Way of the Heart. This is a 7-week program starting today and it'll end on May 30th. It's been designed in a sequential way, and it would be really advantageous for all of us to attend all the sessions, as many as possible, of course. And if we attend all, we'll get a deeper understanding. It starts today with meditation, then we have cleaning, then prayer, spiritual anatomy, further practices, and evolution of consciousness. The spiritual anatomy will take up 2 weeks to cover. Today's speaker is Shrikant Katakam. He has been an heartfulness trainer for more than 20 years and has meditated for more than that too. He has a very deep understanding about meditation. He has participated in numerous volunteer activities for the Heartfulness Institute, has held many such more seminars. And it is with a great pleasure that I look forward to hearing his insights on meditation. So without further ado, it's over to Shrikant Katakam.
Thank you, Ranjanaji. And thank you all for participating today. And we're going to learn about meditation today. And I'm sure who have been practicing this heartfulness meditation for a while understand that all other elements, aspects of heartfulness practices are to support this meditation. So it is very important to understand what meditation is, why meditation, and how to meditate, and how I can refine this meditation process. So let's try to answer these questions today. And then I'll open up for question and answers, for open discussion, so that we can answer any questions around meditation, and then we can discuss some finer aspects of it. So let's hope this session will be helpful for everyone. So I'm kind of starting our journey with the question, what is spirituality? See, my intent of today's discussion is to clarify certain words, jargons. We use them without properly understanding them. And we should bring that clarity to those words so that then we know what we are doing and why we are doing. It is very, very important. And today I'm going to announce a award for everyone on this call. The first dictum or first principle of spirituality is undivided attention. So at the end of the session, you all can send out an email saying that I have not looked at my cell phone during this session. That means you have an undivided attention. But those who are joined via cell phone, they can say they did not switch the window from the Zoom to something else. Then you have undivided attention. So please send out an email, and that applies to me as well. All right, so let's begin. Almost I am kind of going back to 20 years plus. This one individual who wants to start meditation, and he came to our house. So we discussed what the practice is about, how to meditate, what to expect, things like that. So then I said, okay, let's start meditation. And when we are about to start meditation, we both closed our eyes. And then he said, hey, I have a question. Sorry for interrupting. I said, please go ahead. And he said, when will I start advanced course in this practice? So I told him, I found you to be very good, so I've already put you on the advanced course. You can see the smile and happiness on his face. And we finished meditation. And as soon as he opened the eyes, he asked me, what does the basic course consist of? So I told him, we only have advanced course. See how the human mind works. It's always dwelling between the opposites. All human life is all going towards these opposites. Sometimes we go extreme in one direction. Whenever we go extreme in that one direction, there is a sense of loss of balance. So all opposites, positive, negative, all emotions, positive, negative, all aspects of life, positive, negative, will always be there. And when we talk about spirituality, we assume that we only go towards the positive side and negate the negative aspects of life. That's a general assumption. But it is not really true. The real aspect of spirituality is to have the ability to choose sometimes the positive aspects, sometimes the negative aspects. When the child is not behaving, the mother has to show some anger. But as an emotion, when we talk about anger, we see it as a negative aspect. Oh, we should not be angry. A saint is never angry. Same way, mother is never angry too, but she has to show that anger to have a better control over that situation, whatever that may be. So the spirituality is all about knowing the balance point and not straying away in either positive direction or in a negative direction, you know, crossing certain limits. As these limits are crossed every time, that becomes our tendency, which we are going to talk in our next subject. It's not today's subject. But the general understanding is the spirituality is to knowing this balance point. And then at our will, we can choose either we bend towards the negative side or a positive side. Both has to coexist. The happiness and sadness has to coexist. Everything has to coexist. When I can accept this coexistence, then we can call it a spiritual life. That's all spiritual life is about. So that's number one idea. A general understanding is, hey, yoga or oneness with ultimate. Is that true? Yes. But is that it? We have to find it out. Going beyond illusionary existence and discover the reality or truth. So we use these words, truth, reality, illusion, illusionary existence. Those who understand Sanskrit or Hindi, it is called Maya. What is all this about? People take it extreme. Oh, this all existence is illusionary. All this world is illusionary. And then we try to force on our minds, saying this is all illusionary, not real, so don't pay attention to it. I've seen people who do that. Then what you're doing is, without understanding, without realizing, we are forcing a concept on ourselves. This is the danger. So even when we come into a very practical based system like heartfulness, we should pay attention to what we are telling our mind. Is that my experience? Is that my wisdom? Or is it I'm just acting on some information? We must decide, we must be truthful to ourselves. It's like the golden cloak built for a king. This one con man, he did not put any golden cloth. It was the king is walking naked, and he was told that whoever is sinful and a liar will not see the golden cloak. And everyone in the king's court says, "Oh, we see the golden cloak, beautiful, wonderful." Only one kid comes out and says, "Hey, why is this king roaming naked?" So we must be very truthful to ourselves. We cannot force some idea on ourselves. If I want to be a spiritualist, if I want to practice spirituality, we must be very truthful with ourselves. Then the journey becomes easy. In fact, spiritual journey is the most easiest thing anyone can take up. It's very natural. We don't have to sacrifice anything here. Those who are putting the face of sacrifice here, basically they are lying to themselves because it's a compensation mechanism. I'm not able to practice, so I'm kind of compensating in some way. Here, devotion, bhakti, really means realizing the need, the inner need, and identifying a way means to fulfill that need. So the spiritual practices works in both ways. One, it makes us feel that inner need, realize it, and it also provides a means to fulfill it. That is very important. And we say, oh, this is a goal driven life, you must have craving. You hear all these words. What is craving? If you are thirsty, no water for a day, you're only craving water. Anything else is immaterial, because that becomes the absolute need for your survival. If you're out of breath for a minute, the only thing your mind and every cell of your body is thinking about how you can breathe, how you can take the next breath. Because at that point, you realize it's for your survival. If that need becomes a continuous thing, then it is called craving. But we have to start with that need. So what do we do? Oh, because we hear the word craving, then we try to emotionally, artificially induce upon ourselves. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, the devotion at the lowest leads to fanatism. The devotion at the highest leads to salvation, liberation. But what is this highest and lowest? What is he referring to when he says lowest and highest? It is the mind he is referring to. Whenever we say mind associated with consciousness. Now, how is all these aspects are related to meditation? Because the meditation puts that mind in touch with that higher aspect. If that meditation is proper. Then the next point, practice of behavior or character development, is also associated to spirituality. And you will also hear Lalaji, the founders of Heartfulness System, earlier known as Hajmar, He says character development is individual's business. That means one must put an effort to build this character. But how can I build this character? So anything, everything, in my opinion, is need driven. Those of you who have read this book, not the book, there's a new movie which is released, not very new, but about 10 years back. It's called Inferno, on the title based on the Dante's Inferno, which is actually written by Dan Brown. In that book, he says when the population crosses certain threshold, then the natural resources on this earth are depleted. The moral values are thrown out of the window. Reason? Because the physical survival becomes at most important. And today we are not in that situation. Though physical survival is important, but it is not the utmost important thing, because at least if you are meditating, that means we have certain comfort, we have certain enough financial status, enough health status, enough mental status for us to meditate, at least to begin with. We are not in that situation. So from this situation, it is important to mold certain aspects of character which will aid for us to meditate and understand these aspects better. Here I'm not referring to any sins or virtues. What I'm referring to is whatever creates certain disturbance and certain hindrance for this spiritual practice. Ensure that doesn't come in between. Ensure you're not indulged in it. That's all character development is about. So every aspect of spirituality, if you see, it is very natural, easy. We don't have to really struggle in life for a spiritual development. It's the most easiest thing. But we don't like the easy things. We want the hard way. Once I was at the university, one yoga teacher, she came. She teaches yoga asanas, the yoga postures. And I explained about meditation, sit and calm, and stress release, the general things about meditation and how we can transcend from these simple ideas to something else. I could see there is some dissatisfaction in her. And then I said, okay, shall we begin meditation? And she said, fine. And then I said, do you know how we meditate? And she said, no. I said, first thing we have to do is we have to stand on our head. When I said it, she was so happy. In the next second, she was standing on the head. And I had a big laugh. I said, no, I was joking. We don't have to stand on the head. But we like difficult things. If it is simple and easy, that means there's no fun in adopting it. That's how the mind thinks. But as we get into the finer aspects of it, as we understand more and more, then we realize this idea of meditation or a spiritual practice is an absolute need of the life which we have been ignoring all along. All right. Okay. Then why meditate? It's a perennial question. The answers are many. And as we meditate, this answer for why I meditate changes every time I sit in meditation. Because as the more and more understanding comes into us, the aspect of why we meditate changes. But like I said, it's an absolute need. Then the question is, what is that need? Let's try to understand. A general understanding of meditation is, I want to calm my mind, peace of mind, develop focus, concentration, stress-free life I want to lead. Are all these aspects true? Yes. And the teachers of heartfulness system have said these are only byproducts effect, or the side effects of meditation. Then what is the real effect? Then why am I meditating if these are not the true aspects of meditation? These are the byproducts. So then why meditate? Each one of you think of on this question. Sometimes the answers are based on the information we gather as reading these books on heartfulness. Sometimes it's an information we heard from various people. But what is my real understanding of why we meditate? I would suggest that we must ask this question every time I sit for meditation. Why meditate? There is a story. A man meditates, in the Indian tradition, we call it tapas. He does, tapas is penance, basically, a very disciplined life, and that also includes meditation. But in general understanding, tapas means it's all meditation, nothing else. Anyways, meditates, and the God appears. And this person says, God, thank you for appearing in front of me. I have lots of questions with no answers. And the God says, beware, because some questions don't have answers, because those questions can be only experienced. And the person says, okay, I understand what you're saying, but what is death? He asks. And the God immediately, beheads him, because death cannot be answered, it can be only experienced. Meditation, what is meditation? You can explain it in many ways, but it can be only experienced. It can be only known through experience. Any answer, any words you put out there, it doesn't justify what meditation is, or what are the effects of meditation is. As you see on this picture, you can see a seed in its first phase, then it's slowly sprouting, and then you can see a plant. And if you look it under the ground, the seed disappeared. Where did the seed go? I would like to unmute everyone and get the answers, but then it will be a long discussion. So cut it short. Where did the seed go? Now the essence of the seed is all pervading this plant. And when this plant becomes a tree, the essence of the seed is all pervading the tree. Isn't it? So that the seed disappear, or seed has become the essence of this plant or the tree. It has become the essence. Similarly, here, whether it's science or spirituality, they says this world has came into existence after the Big Bang. What existed before was nothing. Shunya, nothingness. And somehow this existence happened. Here, the seed of that existence, now it is not really a physical state. In whatever that state, that seed was for this existence, some religions like to call it God. Some call it something else. Science call it Big Bang. The existence came. And whatever the cause for this existence, the seed of this existence, where did it go? Now it is in every aspect of this existence. I'm using the word aspect, I'm not using the cell or molecules, because as tiny as you can go, as bigger as you can go, it is part of that existence. That is why in the scriptures, it says, honor anyan, mahito mahyan. So it is part of the smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. It is not part, it is defined as the smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. Why? Because it's in every aspect, boundless. If it's in the smallest of the small things, it's in the biggest of the big things. It's all pervading this existence, omnipresent, omnipotent. In one word, omniscient. Then why are we talking about here in this aspect is when my mind connects with this essence. So why are we saying the mind has to connect with this essence? If we understand this part, this idea, then the meditation becomes very clear. Why we meditate also become very clear. So the nature of the mind, if we understand it, it takes the shape of whatever it comes in touch with. If I'm thinking about my work, the mind takes the shape of my work, whatever the aspects of the work. If I'm thinking about a person, my mind takes the shape of that person. Whatever the mind is put on, it takes the shape of it. Means it imbibes those characters of what we are thinking about. Even though the essence is present, then why should the mind meditate or come in contact with this essence? Because the essence is all pervading. What is so special about the mind coming in contact with this essence? Because of our activities, the actions, our thought process, our indulgence, engagement is with the external world. The mind has taken many shapes, many forms, and it lost its origin. And the need, there is a longing, there is an inner longing for this mind. Here I'm using mind in synonymous with the soul. This is longing to be one with from where it came back, from where it originated. Just like after the days of our work, we want to go home. Why we are going home? That's our solace, that's our resting place. We come out of all the aspects of the daily tensions, everything we leave behind and come home to rest and relax. Same thing, the mind is in need to be one with its essence. And because it cannot express to us in the words we understand, it's always in a constant turmoil, not being able to go back to its home. And that reaction, the effects of that mind is also reflecting in our lives. And the lives are taking different directions. Now, to bring balance into this life, like all needs must be fulfilled, the need of the soul, of the mind also needs to be fulfilled. That's why, to begin with, I started meditation as a fulfillment of the need of what? need of thus being oneness, being in touch with this essence. That is the need of the soul. So any need which is not fulfilled, the system goes out of balance. If I'm thirsty, I don't have water to drink. You can see, you're dehydrating, the body is going out of balance, your head is spinning, you're deluding, and all these things happen. Correct? Same thing if you go hungry for a long period, same thing happens. So any need which is not fulfilled, the system is in imbalance. Here I'm only talking about physical needs, even the mental needs are not fulfilled. We don't have a congenial environment. We become stressed, we become depressed, right? So any need which is not fulfilled, it throws us out of balance. So this inner need of the mind, which has been ignored for lives, many lives, if one believes in many lives, but if one believes in this life, yes, this life also we ignored this need. So it becomes an essential aspect in our life to fulfill this need, to again bring that balance into our life. So you see how important this meditation is. Meditation is not about some discipline. It's not some esoteric thing that we attain, oneness with God. If there is oneness with God, if there is God, this essence itself is God, which is omniscient. So it is important to understand this, why we meditate. And it's important to understand this need. Right now, it's only understanding because so far there is no sensory system in our body to tell us this need. And if there is any sensory system like that, that became dormant because we never exercised it. So now we need to awaken this dormant system so that just like we feel hungry, we also feel the need to be in one as this is essence. So once this happens as a part of the spiritual practice, as a heartfulness practice, then meditation is no longer a discipline. When you get up, just like you do other things, just like you feel like having a coffee, you feel like having to meditate and you meditate. I already answered this question. Essence of a seed is all pervading the plant. Similarly, the essence of this existence is also all pervading. Then we talk about heart. What is heart? So typically when we say heart, we are referring to a physical heart. But when it comes to meditation, this heart is something else. Let's understand what this heart is. So even when, in a simple example, my heart is broken. Does that mean your heart is broken as a physical heart? That means something, some part of you, which is essence, some part of your essence is disturbed, right? My heart is filled with joy. What is that, your heart we are referring to? That is the heart we are talking about. In the spiritual field, I want to read this whole passage because it's a it's loaded passage. So let's read and understand it together. In the spiritual field, it is actually the seed which has become the tree, with whose fruit one feels satiated. Its branches spread all over, so much so they cover up every knot and establish their effect in it forever. It may rightly be called something which has been made by the nature itself, or has been conceived by the nature. So you hear this word not. We are going to learn about this not in one of the sessions in the 7 week session, and some of you have already attended about this, which is conducted by other centers. And you might have read in Babuji's books, but we are going to touch upon this idea of aspects of not in our upcoming sessions. It may rightly be called something which has been made by nature itself or has been conceived by nature. Its purer form contains such a power which may be called the mother power. It is like a seed which sprouts after losing its existence. It spreads into the entire cosmos in due course of time and gets merged in such a way that without losing its individuality, it takes up to the ultimate. It is that staircase which we go on climbing and we reach a stage which an abhyasi can. You see the idea of spiritual journey, everything is put into this paragraph. All that which is brought up, which is brought down by the nature itself, it's conceived by this original essence. Here Babaji called it as power, but it is the powerless power from where all power came into existence. So it is this staircase we are going so that we can come in contact with this original state. In meditation, we know it as samadhi. Sama means the oneness. Adi means, sama also can be referred as a state. Adi means in the beginning. So I have talked about the heart region, the mind region, and the central region in books. The entire map of central region is printed in the heart. You see the profoundness of the heart. The entire map of central region is printed in the heart. It has taken me 3 days to conclude that the same number of circles as the central region can be perceived in this seed also after its little growth. So you can see the profundity of the heart. And someone said, I cannot validate the statement. The real mergence only happens through the heart, and how much ever far you have gone. Even to the central region, one has to come back to the heart to merge with this ultimate. The true culmination, the true yoga only happens in the heart. So now you can see the importance of this heart and why heart is chosen as a place where we meditate. Because it is, and in fact, Babaji defined heart as head to toe. It is not a physical heart where you meditate on. You're meditating on the entire being itself. Now again, I keep this question, what is heart? Is another reference from Complete Works, I think volume 1. Let me read this. How this came about is not difficult to understand. The connecting link between animate and the inanimate is its root. A poison and its antidote are mostly found adjacent to each other. When we are in a state of inanimation, but it is natural to think of animation because it's at the base of the inanimate and both states are interrelated. Symbolically, the intersection of the cross, in the Christianity, we hold the cross. Symbolically, the cross represents this intersection of the inanimate and animate. And the same intersection here we are referring to as heart. So this entry into the inanimate state happens only through the heart. That's why it's a center position. Now, the first thought that flashed across the mind was to proceed towards animation, which constituted our very first step towards growth. It is a matter of fact that our vision fails to apprehend a thing situated at a very high or at a very low level. But since man occupies the middle position, the medium state or samavastha, balanced state, samavastha means, came into his lock. What can that middle point in us be? It is only the heart, and it is at that point the connecting link between the animate and inanimate is most clearly felt. This is the reason why we meditate. Meditation on the heart is very useful. You see, so from an inanimate state, this whole existence, which is an animate state, came into place. So the idea is to bring or be in touch with this inanimate. I don't want to get too deep into this. What are the aspects of inanimation? Maybe we can keep it for as a different topic some other day, because that's going to consume all the time. But see, the idea is the heart is the way. This intersection, understanding this balance point is very important. And on that we meditate upon. So, what is the dictum of meditation? The dictum or the principle of meditation is we become that which we meditate upon. And when we begin meditation, if you see here, if you understand this statement, you will understand the aspect of meditation also, where he says, when we are in a state of inanimation, but it is to naturally to think of animation. So as we, through meditation, when we are going into this deeper state, the mind automatically reflects back and thinks about this animated state. As a result, what happens is when we meditate, more thoughts emerge. It's a natural aspect of meditation. Remember this. If you understand this, meditation becomes the most easiest thing you can do. So I'm kind of, don't read this slide as is, okay? I'm not putting the aspects of meditation here, rather I'm giving some multiple choice for you to think about. Prerequisites for meditation. Meditation requires the focus of the mind. Option one, is that true? Think about it. Meditation requires uninterrupted concentration. No thoughts during meditation. And all of the above are true. None of the above are true. If I have to ask you this question, which one is right here? All, none, or one of them? Most of you might have chosen all of the above. But my answer is none of the above. There are no prerequisites for meditation. But yet Babuji said one prerequisite Are you willing to meditate? Are you willing to take up this practice? That is probably the only prerequisite for this meditation. Are you willing to do it? And why are you willing to do it? There's no why. Just like how our children answered. If you ask them a question, they say because, and they pause. They don't say anything after because. The same thing. Why are you willing? Because. There's nothing after that. Just because. So here I want to touch upon one another aspect about the focused thinking versus meditation. Here you call it as a diffuse thinking. Focused thinking is narrow, targeted. It's methodical, it's tactical, it's very analytical. It's necessary for deep work. Is concentration required? Yes. See, please don't think it as a left brain and right brain. Okay, this is just a picture to say, this side of it and the other side of it, other aspect of it. Diffuse thinking. It's broad and conceptual, meandering, strategic, uncovers meaning and connection. Just like I will give you an example. Once I was doing a session at Wilmington, and 25 participants in that session were already doing mindfulness for a few years. The first question they asked me is, what is the difference between mindfulness and heartfulness? So I told them, I'm not going to speak out any differences between two systems. For me to speak about any differences, I should have been, practicing both the systems for a few years to kind of say, this is this and this is this. So I told them, I'll tell you a fundamental difference or fundamental aspect of meditation. So I gave them this example. A cat sitting in front of a rat hole or a mouse hole. I don't know how many of you have seen that. In today our houses, the cats are fed. So they're not really waiting to hunt something. But if you have seen the cats, back in India, the cats roam wild. They come into our houses, they jump through the windows because we didn't have meshes in those days. So it's always the big thing in the night is, have you closed the window? Otherwise they'll come inside and they drink the milk or curds or whatever. But you must have seen, the cat sits in front of the mouse hole until the mouse puts its head out. It waits there for hours, fully focused. The moment the rat puts its head out and if it sees the cat, it will go inside. So it has only a split second to catch that rat. As soon as it puts its head out, the cat has to grab it. Otherwise, it has to go hungry for the day. It waited there for hours without losing any focus on that hole, not even for a second. And when the rat puts its head out, it grabs it. And how much area it is focusing on? A small rat hole. Think about a kingfisher sitting near the pond on a tree. Any ripple in that pond, it'll jump and grab the fish. Now, pond is not as small as a rat hole. The horizon now the increased to focus on. Imagine an eagle or a hawk flying 2 miles above the ground. It is covering about 10 square mile area or more than that, 25 square mile area. Any small animal, a rabbit or a snake moving on the ground in 25 square mile area, it has to find it, and it has to dive and grab it. Can a hawk or a kingfisher concentrate on a small part of the pond or a land? If they are doing it, they go hungry forever. So the concentration fails when your horizon is increasing. Concentration works when you have only one object, one thing to find out. So when we are reading on a particular subject, trying to understand, read, we need certain focus concentration to grasp about that thing. But meditation is different. Just like how Newton discovered, when an apple fell on the ground, most of the discoveries, they were not focusing, they left their mind. That's why it's meandering. The mind is wandering around, and suddenly it taps into that intuition or intuitive state where the answers come, where the discoveries happen. Because here there is no scope. The mind is not going, and Newton was not thinking, I'm going to find out what gravity is. It just happened. So that's why there is no scope in when we talk in terms of meditation. It wanders, and we are allowing that mind to wander. That is meditation. If I apply concentration for meditation, it fails. If I apply the other way around, also the concentration fails. Because the objectives of two aspects are completely different. Two activities are completely different. So that's why in meditation, we let the mind go free. We set free. We don't control it. We don't direct it. That's why the meditation is known as a state of witness. When I'm witnessing something, I'm not part of it. That's why, when someone is called into the court as a witness, that means that person is not part of the crime. You only witness the crime. Correct? Same thing here. In meditation, we are just the witnesses. We are not controlling it. After some time, we are not even the doers. A true state of being in a witness is known as meditation. We are observing. You are meditating, thoughts are coming. I'm seeing them. I have no part to play in it. The moment I play a part in it, I'm interacting with it. Then I am no longer a witness. If you understand this, again, I'm going to repeat this. Meditation becomes easy, and it is the most easiest thing you can do. You see, our own concepts are making meditation difficult. If you have the right concept, then the meditation is the easiest thing to do. I'll do a time check. It's almost 1 hour. So to skip the part, as you see here, traffic. Let me ask you a question. How many of you return to your home while you're driving to work because there is traffic? How many of you did it? Probably none. Because traffic or no traffic, you will make sure you will get to the work. Otherwise, you'll miss your daily wages. Isn't it? So when your objective is clear, traffic or no traffic doesn't matter. You will make it to work. A lot of times, many people complain, I stopped meditation because there are a lot of thoughts during meditation. It is just like calling your boss, I'm not coming to office because there is traffic today. Is it an acceptable excuse to the boss? If you are the boss, what would you say to your employee? Right? So, thoughts or no thoughts, the objective of meditation is to come in contact with this essence. If that idea is not there, even if I don't have any thoughts during meditation, that objective is not fulfilled. You got your car out, you're driving. If you don't know where you're going, if you have no intention of where you're somewhere to go, you don't have a destination, that's driving has no meaning, no objective. It's a useless driving. Same thing here. We know our objective to come in contact with that essence. That has nothing to do with the thought or no thought during meditation. Those are immaterial. You might think it as an hindrance, but it is not an hindrance. If I am a witness, I am witnessing a lot of thoughts today. But at some point, you witness, or your mind slips into the state of essence. And then you come out and say, oh, I had a very deep meditation. But if you opened your eyes because there are thoughts, you would have never achieved that objective. So it is essential to understand how to meditate. Okay. Or why to meditate. And how to meditate is easy. How to meditate? Close your eyes, give a supposition. There is this higher essence in your heart. Close your eyes and wait for the mind to slip into that state, because you have already given a supposition and the direction. Okay, at this point, I'll stop because we are running out of time. We can do half-hour meditation. And then, sorry, we could not get to the question and answers, but if you guys can stay, after the meditation, we can